Welcome to the Relateable podcast, a safe space for open and honest conversations created for Black people.
This podcast explores how we relate to one another in our intimate connections, friendships, family, and everything in between. Hosted by 3 Caribbean women. I am Fiona, a single mom.
I'm Sherween, a very near empty nester.
And I'm Chantal, a free-spirited monogamist. Relatable, because a shared journey brings hope.
Welcome to another episode of the Relatable podcast. Did y'all miss us? Well, you know what? We were doing only amazing things. You know how we roll already. So today we have an amazing episode for you guys. We have some lovely guests, some amazing, wonderful guests. But before we do all of that, let me check in. My sisters, what y'all saying? How y'all doing? What going on? Let me see. Why starting with Fiona?
I'm great. I had a very beloved friend. I'm not saying no names. Who came and brought me mangoes, cold bears, and a soursop to my home.
Nice.
So, my morning started off very beautifully.
Wow. I wonder
That's
who
all.
that dear friend was. It wouldn't happen to be
I
a
don't
friend
know.
that come all the way from Choiseul and come and check you. No?
No, I can't. I forget their name, but I appreciate
It's
them
okay.
too.
How you doing? How you doing, Fiona? Everybody knows me that bring it for you. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Jazz festival in Saint Lucia was wonderful. I haven't been to jazz properly in about 12 years, and I enjoyed every moment of it, from John Legend to Lady Lava. So we're going from like the beauty of seeing John Legend under the full moon by the ocean, to all the ratchetness of Lady Lava, to the bonfire of Sizzler, to Summer Walker, to singing "I Old and Grey" by Trees. It was everything. It's everything you could want from a music festival. It's jazz and arts, but just let's call it a music festival. It was amazing. So just coming off from that high, and now we into full carnival mode. And we have been working with some amazing creatives in Saint Lucia and in Guadeloupe for the season. So there's a lot of action that's going to be happening in the next 2 months. So I'm in good spirits. Chantal, et toi?
Hello. How am I? I am good. I am just coming off of my birthday weekend spent in Anguilla with one of, oh gosh, with one of my oldest friends. We are a year and a day apart. So she's a year and a day older than me. And we haven't celebrated our birthday together since we were 12 and 13, respectively. It's not that we haven't seen each other, because she actually lived between Anguilla and Nevis when we were growing up. And we happened to be in New York together in the early 90s when we were both studying. So, and we've always remained in touch. But in terms of our birthdays, we just have never managed to be in the same region, country. And when I moved home, I'm like, okay, this is it. You are now living in Anguilla. I'm in Nevis. We doing this. And 3 years in, we did it. And it was wonderful. It was such a wonderful weekend of catching up, of celebrating, of me spending time with my beautiful niece, Alicia, just everything, honestly. We went to a party the night before my birthday. Some friends of Jocelyn's were celebrating their 50th, and their birthday is actually the same day as mine, which was the Sunday. And so everybody was like, oh, triplets. It's not just twins, it's triplets. And it was such a wonderful, just joyful Caribbean party. Beautiful venue, beautifully decorated, the tablescapes, whatever they call them, the photo booth area, the food, y'all. My little heart was happy, eh? because the food was good, good, good. They had this wonderful, heavily decorated chef cater, but proper Caribbean foodage. And trust me, we didn't have to take Tupperware. They had Tupperware there for people to take away food. Huh?
Chantal, we always know anytime is food.
Yo,
Anytime is food.
okay.
We know
If the
how the
food was
thing go.
bad, I would not have been
Yes.
happy. I would not have been happy. The DJ was amazing. He played just a great mix, really representing. I think people in our generation really have eclectic taste in music. Like we grew up listening to everything, right?
Mm.
So not just music from the Caribbean, but just globally, we listen to everything. So
Yeah,
there was a
man.
little bit of this, a little bit of that, just everything from the 80s and 90s. And then, as the night got on, you heard the compa, the bouillon, the soca,
Yeah.
the this, and all old school, eh?
Let me
All
ask
old
you, let me
school.
ask you, let me ask you a question. Listeners, y'all know how the thing go already. So
Mhm.
that what the Anguilla men saying? They looking nice, man.
Yo, Anguillan men are special. They are special.
All right. Well, Shani,
I
I'm
will
I,
say
it's
this.
What do you mean? What do you mean by special?
That's
I didn't
right.
want to go
You
down that
see?
route.
You see, Fiona's
Fiona, we don't
asking the
have
right
time today.
questions
I don't want to go
because,
down that rabbit
okay.
hole.
And I
Because next thing I
also,
taking a trip to Anguilla.
no, I don't want my time to be male centered, the time that I spent
Mm.
there. And it wasn't. It really wasn't. But in terms of, most people of my age are not, they are partnered. So in terms of there being available men at the party, I can't say that there were many, but I don't need men to have a good time. I love men and I love hanging out with men and I love making love to men, but I had a great time without men being centered. So, yes, I had a wonderful, wonderful time.
Let's keep in mind we have two
Well,
men guests on
I'm
the
aware.
podcast tonight. So boy, anyway.
So what's wrong with making love?
Hey,
I
Sorry.
didn't say that
let's
there was.
wait.
I'm
I
pretty
introduce you
sure
yet.
I
Sorry,
said
sorry.
I
I
enjoy
introduce you
making
yet.
love. Okay.
Well, my week was fine.
No one cares. Clearly, because no one asked. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
How
Wow.
was
Oh yes,
your week?
Boje. Sorry, sorry.
Wow. It's
Wow.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
No,
My week was
Sherween.
amazing. My week was wonderful. I had a
Good.
lovely time at jazz. Mother's Day was particularly wholesome.
Oh.
Spend the day on the beach with my beautiful daughter, and then lo and behold, I met somebody on the
Mhm.
beach.
Mhm.
So you know what? I'll pin that one on the wall and let me see where the thing go. All
Okay.
right. Let me see where the thing go. But yes, my week was fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. Yes,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that,
Anyway,
Sherween.
so like I said before, we this week is special. We have two amazing guests joining us today on the Relatable podcast. And listeners, you'll know how we have our Mandem series. Well, this is another addition to the Mandem series. So I don't want, without any further ado, let me tell you how I met these men. First of all, your listeners, you'll know I left up north and I went to live down south with my dad. So I'm now living in the country in Choiseul. Most, I think, the best decision I made of my life, one of the best. But I was scared. Y'all knew I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was. I don't know anybody in Choiseul. Um, and then I got like, I don't know. I want to call it a vision. Tell me to get in touch with this guy called Ninja Dan. Now I know Ninja Dan very well. He's a celebrity. He started singing soca music. We from the same area, and I've known him since we were young. And something just kept telling me to get in touch with him. Get in touch with him. And then I did. I reached out to another friend who knew him. And then I went to Choiseul, and that was it. He said, Sherween, boy, you even know maybe it's God that sent you. I don't know if he used those words, but I'd like to think he said that. Maybe it's God that sent you. And then we started working together on some programs. He's running workshops all around Saint Lucia, training school children on behavior management, um, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, spiritual, all type of things. I don't want to go too deep. I will let him. So I linked up with him, and then I started working with him on these workshops. And then it now ballooned into him going back into the soca arena, which he left a long time ago. And he's decided to come back with some fresh tunes, and I'm managing him. So that journey, the journey of the workshops and all these things took us down the road whereby we were doing some workshops with some people being released from prison out on parole. And I met this amazing young man who's also joining us. And I just felt his story was so amazing and something to offer, something probably people can, I don't know if it could help one person, you know. I thought it was important and that their voices could be heard, and also to and I have been biased to push the music too. So listeners, without any further ado, I'm gonna introduce Mr. Ninja Dan Jonathan St. Rose and Mr. Peterson Scott. Right? Peterson Scott. So I'll let them do the introductions. I'm passing on to Ninja Dan.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jonathan St. Rose, aka Ninja Dan. I'm a soca artist by profession. I'm a farmer, a fisherman, a merchant, a businessman. Also, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a lecturer, and also I'm a youth development officer, amongst many other stuff. And yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be meeting you all guys for the first time. I met Fiona this morning. Well, I know Fiona all my life. But Shani, I mean, it's a pleasure to meet you. And also my good friend, the young man who's next to me, Peterson Scott. Yeah, man. Nice.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Peterson Scott. I'm a mason. I could do carpentry. I was just released from the Borderley Correctional Facility, just trying to do better, trying to motivate the young ones from picking the right choice, making the right choice. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate meeting y'all and being here. Y'all taking all the time to hear me out. I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you both for taking the time to spend time with us. It's really appreciated. And I would love to know much more about you both and how you came to the junctures that you are right now in your lives in terms of how you're giving back and how you've chosen to give back to our young people. I'll start with actually Peterson. I want to have a conversation with you, Peterson. So I'm reading your bio, and it says that you are 31. So you're quite young. I think you might be the youngest person here today in this
Yes,
Yes,
she
conversation.
is.
I am.
I love that. And you're originally from Castries,
Yes.
Lucians, because I'm outnumbered by Lucians right now. So you mentioned that you had served some time, that you
Yeah.
had a prison sentence,
Yeah.
and then after your release, you decided to enroll in the C-REP program. Now, I'm
Yes.
Nevis, so I don't know what the C-REP program is. Could you tell me a bit about that?
Basically, the serial program is a program where it helps you with self control. I would say it help you better yourself. You understand? Like it helps you with emotional intelligence, empathy, conflict resolution, different stuff. Like it will help you. You come out of prison, it will help guide you, put you on the right path for you to like. I always put it like for you to start over fresh and continue. Like be consistent and stay on the right path without going back to the old you. And yeah, man. By
Okay.
enrolling in that program, I end up meeting Ninja Dan and Miss Sherween. You understand? Two great people, you know. I don't know what they saw what I couldn't see in myself at the starting, you understand?
That's
So
beautiful.
they helped me to bring out my true self, find my true self, you understand? Yeah,
Hmm.
man, they spark the faith and hope back in me, you know. So that make me want to help the younger ones under me. In the ghetto, well, you'll get people to show you the bad before they
Mm.
show you the good, you understand? So I want to
Right,
be
right,
different.
right.
I rather show them the good way instead of show them the bad, you understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just what I set out to do, you know. Yeah. It just help me find that path. Sorry for cutting it short.
No, 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 not. Listen, we're having conversations, right? So in natural conversations, especially as Caribbean people, we talking, we talking, we talking. Um, so you really, so the CREP program, and then you were mentored by Ninja Dan.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel? You've mentioned that, they've helped you to stay on what you feel is the right path for you right now, where you are in your life. And in terms of being an example to young people who may, as you said, they didn't have the opportunity to learn a positive way of living. They were introduced to, I guess the opposite to that early on in their
Yeah.
life, right? And
Yes.
so that became their life. So with you now having, an opportunity to turn things around, how do you see yourself going forward, helping with young people and advocating for them and keeping them on what you feel is a much better way to be in the world and to show up?
I have a lot of them looking up to me, right? So I rather show them I getting up every day, go to work, do the right thing, instead of showing them the negative. You understand? I look
Mm,
into try and look for support to soccer rammers, little cleanups. I look into open my little own scrap metal business, so they could
nice.
get little
What?
jobs. You understand? Like I go in full 100 this time. Like, yeah, man. I like,
And not
yeah,
just with
man.
one thing. So you said scrap metal. You mentioned
Yeah,
something.
soccer rammers, little football. You know.
Okay, right. And then did I hear correctly? You said something about cleanups?
Yeah, of course. In the
Okay.
community, make them come and help out. You know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We know that's our thing self, eh? So that's
Exactly.
amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
I love this. And so, Peterson, I'm going to come back to you, but I wondered because you mentioned Ninja Dan's program. So I don't know if I can call you Ninja Dan.
Of
I feel
course, of course.
I
That's my
can.
that's,
It's okay.
that's
It's okay to call you Ninja Dan. All
yeah,
right.
man. That's my singing name. So you could call
Okay,
me
all
that.
right. And I know you are a cultural icon in Saint Lucia. So there's so many, I feel like there's so many layers to you, but I
Yes,
really
there
want to
is.
start with your story, you know, and where you were coming from and how you are now, developing programs and rolling out programs, rehabilitation programs, mentoring. Is it just young men or do you mentor young women too?
I mentor just young people on a whole, men, women,
Okay, okay,
girls.
okay. So tell me how you got to where you are right now. What is the backstory? Because we all have a backstory, right? Leading up
Yeah.
to the present time. So tell me how
Okay.
you became, this wonderful mentor. How did rehabilitation for past offenders become your passion? Because it feels to me like right now you're walking in purpose. But how did you get there?
Okay. I was raised up poor. I wasn't raised with my mom and dad. I was raised with my grandparents. So you could imagine how traumatized I was as a child, and I did not even know I was being traumatized in the sense of my mother and my father never being around. And I always wanted to be somebody important. Always wanted to be somebody to cause an impact. But I was a child thinking into a grown up, yeah. And then I went from Marshall School to Castries Comprehensive, and then from Castries Comprehensive, I started singing, and that's where I got the name Ninja Dan because I was singing from secondary school as young invader, and then I transitioned into Ninja Dan into the Soca, and even there I got a little trouble because in the Soca arena there wasn't really Soca in Saint Lucia yet. There was fast calypso. And even me getting into that, they brought me on the board of directors and they asking me, what do I think that I want to bring to the threshold? And I said that I'm bringing new blood, I'm bringing new creativity. And then, they give me a little halikase, but then, yes, they accepted me. It was Invader who said to them that, hey, I see this young man has a lot of potential, so I believe in him and I believe y'all should give him a chance. And then when I was accepted into the Calypso Arena, I joined a tent called TOT. I sang there for 2 years. I got booed. And then I said to myself, hey, this is not for me because this is Calypso and Calypso is not in my blood, it's Soca. And then I branch out and then I opened my own tent called NG Soca Stage, which was the mecca for a lot of young soca artists in Saint Lucia, in the Caribbean. Yeah, myself and Coyote Faswa, we opened a tent where we umbrellaed majority of the well-known, powerful soca artists we have in Saint Lucia, the likes of Peterson John, Nicole David, Manchas, Kakal, Superman, myself, you name it. And then from there, it was unfortunate. I was in a situation where I was sent to prison on an alleged murder case. And I did about 8 years on remand, and the Court of Appeal let me out because they realized that I wasn't supposed to be incarcerated. And from there, I made a decision that, you know what, I'm not going to go back into the music one time. There is a purpose driven inside of me that said I have to go to the schools. And imagine I thinking that I want to go to the schools and I did not even know how to speak properly. I did not even know how to speak standardized English. And I was asking God, like, how would I be able to conquer? How would I be able to manifest that in terms of going to all these schools in the island and I cannot speak properly? And I just hear that voice in my head said, hey, son, I got you. Whatever you need to know, I'm going to download it into your head. I'm going to download it into your consciousness. You just go with no fear. And I happened to accomplish 117 schools around the island. So if approximately I've able to reach out to 45,765 children around Saint Lucia. And even by far, I was introduced to the CWEP program as a facilitator. And that is where I end up meeting Peterson, and I asked Sherween to join me as another facilitator, in the sense of Sherween could teach you guys about business management and entrepreneurship. But my role was more to teach spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence and conflict management and the sorts. And that's how we end up being here today, because when I heard Peterson spoke for the first time, it triggered me in the sense of this young man was me, and I'm seeing myself in him, like myself being trapped in his body, and he's saying he just want the voice. He just want people to hear him. He just want people to hear what he's feeling on the inside, and that's what coaxed me to ask Sherween to bring him to the show, so that his voice could be heard on a large scale, on a large platform. So I don't know if that answers your question, Miss. Thank you.
I tell you, wow. So I was wondering, because you obviously, you brought Peterson to the show, and I know, okay, I know teachers like to say they don't have favorites, right? I know they like to say, and of course, I'm not asking you to name, because you've worked with how many young people do you think you've worked with since you have been delivering these programs, working, mentoring? How many young people do you think?
Yeah, well, about 45,765 approximately.
Oh, about. That is a
Yes.
very that's a very specific number. Okay. So that means that you've come across many stories, right?
Yep.
From young people,
From
their
many different
journeys.
schools.
Of course. So, are there any stories that really made you, you've worked with the young person during the day, during over weeks or months, depending on the length of the program, right? That you've come home, right? You've sat down and you've thought to yourself, I have saved a life today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There are many stories. I mean, there are many different types of stories.
Mm-hmm.
There are fortunate stories, there are unfortunate stories. I'll give you one story in particular where
Please.
um I went to this school, and then I asked the kids if they know God, and there was like, mate, who is mate? And like they were watching one another and they said, but who is mate? And I was watching the teacher and asking her, but how come the children asking me who's mate? So the teacher said that they have removed religious knowledge in the schools, and they haven't brought it back ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking the kids, like, do you pray? And they was like, no, sometimes, if you remember. And then some of them was raising their hand, and I said, well, okay. I said, I don't believe you all let's pray. I said, the only person I believe that is pray in that class is that little girl, and the head is on the desk. And I said, little girl, rise up and tell the class why you just pray so hard. And she said, she watched me and she started crying, and she said, because my mommy is so ill.
Mm.
And that kind of touched me to know that a child is in the class and she's praying for a mother while she's in school. And that touched me in the sense of I cried because that child kind of exposed my vulnerability, because I'm a spiritual man and I have spiritual gifts. But you cannot go in a school system and expose yourself to that kind of
Right.
nature.
Of
That child
course.
kind of draw it out of me. And there's another scenario where a little girl said something to me about her father. Her father is a wicked person, and what can she do to make it stop?
Mm.
And it was beyond me, because I could not report that, because if I had to report that, it would have put that child's life in danger.
Mm.
So I had to use my discretion and kind of hold it back and just pray for that child. You understand?
Mm.
So I've met many, many different situations where you find kids saying that they don't trust their counselors. They don't trust the
Right.
counselors in the school because the counselors go back and tell their parents, and like they just feel like they're in a hole, and they feel lonely, and they feel helpless, and they feel vulnerable.
Mm.
Yeah, man, I get a lot of stories. I get a
Right.
lot of stories.
And so, how do you, in these instances, because you really have to sit with yourself in terms of, especially the scenario you just spoke about, where the young girl was telling you things that were very disturbing about her father, but you at the same time want to ensure that she doesn't suffer the consequences of
Mm-hmm.
having said anything to you,
Yes.
and you decided that you didn't want to put her at further risk, and you decided to turn to prayer and your spirituality, um, to perhaps empower her, free her of that situation.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, especially when you are a safeguarder of young people, you're someone who's pouring into people, young people. There are some times where there is a sense of helplessness, right? How do
Yeah.
you, how do you heal yourself and navigate those situations where you are feeling somewhat helpless?
Oh, I always tell my students that. I always tell my guys that high vibration, high frequency, because I always tell them about, and that's part of the emotional intelligence I teach. We live our society has created mechanisms around us, so we will always be in low frequency. And when I say low frequency, it means that we'll always be angry, we'll always be scared, we'll always be worried, we'll always be afraid, we'll always be stressful, and the list goes on and on. Now, how do I get over that is by always staying in high frequency, always staying in high vibration. No matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, it might be hard, but most of the times I have to force myself to always remain in high frequency. And when I say high frequency, I mean authenticity, I mean love, kindness, happiness, calmness, patience, excitement, passion, optimism, enthusiasm, and the list goes on and on and on. That's how I'm able to master the
Mm. And it
situations
is a
that has
practice,
come.
like you said. It's not always. It doesn't come easily all the time. There are times when it is going to be challenging to remain in that type of frequency.
No, it is not easy, but
Hmm.
the fact is, once you know the benefits of being in high frequency or being in high vibration, it happens and you don't even know.
Right,
Because once
right,
once I was being tested in the
right.
sense of, so I'll give you an example. Sherween and I, we had a launch of the program with the Ministry of Education and the sponsors. Let's say it was a Wednesday,
Hmm.
and Tuesday afternoon, a guy came to me in my yard with a cutlass. He came to threaten me and he came to climb on my property. He climbed my tree without my permission. Yeah. So with every right, I have a right to confront this guy and say that you cannot come on my property or you cannot climb my tree. So I'm getting the suggestions of negative in my mind saying, hey, drop your dog, ninja. You check it, take your cutlass and drop your dog because they have no right to climb your tree. I'm getting these suggestions from the dark force. But something else is counteracting and saying, no, don't do anything because this is you being tested. You have a program to launch tomorrow, and that's going to be very powerful. So don't allow nothing negative to try and mess up your time coming for you. And that was able to hold me back in the sense of I was able to go in a peaceful place. I was able to put on my music and just calm myself in a meditation until me just disappeared. So yes, that's how I deal with them situations. I don't get caught up. I don't get drawn in. I don't get committed. You understand? And that's how I teach my young men how to overcome certain situations, especially in conflict.
Right. So, Sherween, Ninja mentioned obviously that he's now collaborating with you, he's partnered with you. And we haven't really spoken much about the work that you've been doing lately here on
No,
Relatable. So
no.
now that we have your business partner on the podcast, Sherween, so tell me about the programs that you guys are rolling out and what your specific role is within that.
Okay, so when I met Ninja Jonathan, it was in January, and then he was preparing to launch. He had got some funding, and he was preparing to launch the first workshop for the primary school students. And when I met him, he was just preparing everything, getting ready, putting things in place. But he had somebody else working with him, but he was more or less on his own at the time. He told me she was dealing with something, she couldn't give the help he needed, which was absolutely fine. So I came on board as just to help him with the admin side of things, making sure the paperwork is done, making sure he sent out his invoices, making sure he communicating with the schools and getting everything sorted.
Mm-hmm.
And then whilst doing that, he said to me, well, I have this program coming on showing a syrup program. I could try and get you a course. And I said, okay, that would be great. And I did the course, obviously, where I met Peterson. But then I realized, Gassa, what Daman doing, it is something that is very dear to me. Now, listeners, I'm a lecturer by profession.
So our listeners
What
probably
you
didn't know that, Sherween.
what? 4 years, listeners, y'all know. And if y'all don't know that, well, guys, y'all, I blame y'all. But yeah, I'm a lecturer, business and economics lecturer. And then but what you don't know is when I was doing my BA, one of the things I wanted to do, and I didn't do it as my dissertation, however, I won a prize for it, was to get people from the UK or students, lecturers to go down to Saint Lucia to run training programs for underprivileged youth or for youth people who coming out of prison or for youth that are in, we call them, what's the name of the school for the boys and up to
Special ed.
this, not special ed, the boys training
Okay.
center and Upton Gardens Girls School. That's for the girls who are a little bit wayward, but they just need some guidance, Gassa. So one of the things I wanted to do, and that's going back 2010, 2011, when I put that whole thing together and I took it to the government in the UK, the then High Commissioner, and the response was, yes, 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 we will do it, we will do it.
Mm.
And that was the end of it. Never took me any. So I packed that. And then I'm meeting Naman, and Naman doing all the things I wanted to do. That just strike my heart. I'm like, whoa, this is me. This is what I've been wanting to do all this time.
Mm.
I mean, even as teaching, when I was teaching at my academies in the UK, all the children that were deemed, and I in quotation marks, troubled or have behavior issues and stuff, they were sending them for me, usually because they were black kids. All
Right,
right.
right.
Usually, so I'm the mommy taking on all the black children that gain problems at the schools. So it's something that's deep rooted within me to work with kids who may not have been given the time of day, who teachers write off, who society turn their backs on, who, you know what, them people watch them and say, you know what, them people, they stand no chance. That's the type of people I want to work with, because you know what, I probably saw myself there. I see
Right.
myself in them. Okay, so to me, Kasa, if I could do it, y'all could do it too. I come from the ghetto. I come from Masha, just like y'all. And look at all the things that I accomplished. Y'all could do it too. Maybe just a little
Mm.
guidance. You know, all the guidance I wanted, but I did not have. So when I ran into mates and he telling me he doing all of that, I'm like, geez, do you understand now? Do you see the passion, the enthusiasm, the hope? I feel like, hey, this is my calling. This is something I've been
Mm.
wanting to do. So we link up, and now let me go back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the primary schools. We did the 2 workshops for the primary schools where we trained students from how many schools?
44.
34 schools around the country to become
Right.
peer counselors.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, 44 kids, 44 schools, sorry, 2 children from each school
And the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
and a teacher. And then come September, we're moving on to secondary schools. So we'll be working with all the secondary schools and teachers. And then we're going into the parents, because we're not leaving out the parents. We have to include the parents. Whatever it is we're doing with the students, it's making no sense if the parents are not in tune with it.
Very true.
You understand?
Yes.
Everything they're learning, then they're going home, and then the parents is the same papi show they're dealing with. So we're
Mm.
bringing in the parents as well. So that is from September onwards,
Wow,
where
Sherween,
the programs are going.
Jonathan, Sherween, Peterson. Listen, Sherween, there seems to be so much synergy and alignment between, your purpose and
Yes, guys,
Ninja
it's
Man's, right?
crazy.
Lots
It's
of
crazy.
alignment.
It's
Yeah,
crazy. There is a lot of alignment. And I feel like going to Schwazel was the best decision I made. um
definitely.
I have a lot of faith and a lot of confidence. You see, you meet people there and they talk a lot. Shani, you
I
know what I
know.
mean.
I
Fiona,
do.
jump in. You know what I mean. You meet a lot of talkers. You meet a lot of people that saying, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, and they're doing nothing. When I met them and I watch him well, and
You
he
did.
not just
Yeah.
talking, and that's the thing. That's what hooked me. He not just talking, he's doing. And when I saw the work he was doing, because like I said, I know him as a soca artist.
Right.
Not I didn't I saw I knew what he was doing with the schools, but I never really paid too much attention. But then when I saw the depth of what he was doing, I was like, nah, there's too much synergy there.
Too much indeed. And
Too much.
everything for a reason, divine timing,
Yes.
all the things. You came
Yes.
home to Saint Lucia, you were, as we do when we come home, it takes us a little while to kind of get into our stride, right? To really
Yep.
hit the sweet spot as to what our offerings are going to be, how we're showing up for community, how we're going to
Yep.
serve. It takes time, right? And you have to have complete faith and
Definitely.
trust the process. And, and you did. And then now look at what you are doing and
Mm-hmm.
what you're all doing together. And I love the plan. I love especially what you said, Sherween, about yes, it's fantastic to work with the children, to then work with the teachers, but you also have to bring the guardians and parents into
Yes.
that conversation as well, right?
Yes, that's very important. That's
Very,
very
very much
important. It doesn't
so.
make sense. Coming from a teaching standpoint, it doesn't make sense to be working so hard on the students, on the
Mm,
kids, and the parents are disengaged.
Everything begins at home. The parents, the children do what they see their parents do at home, and they repeat it at the school.
hmm
Yeah.
And that is the
So
truth. That
so
is the
yeah,
truth.
that's where we
So,
are.
with the
Mm-hmm.
work that you're all doing, has there been, what are people most resisting? What aspect of the program do you feel the most resistance from or of, I guess? Not from.
Mm, from my standpoint, I mean, I'll pass it on to Ninja. But from my standpoint, there isn't much resistance. In fact,
Lovely.
there's a lot of love and support for it. In fact,
And
everybody's
respect.
and respect, and people are saying that it's so needed, and they're so happy and thankful that he's doing that work.
Mm.
So I've not come across much resistance in terms of the students. I don't know, in terms of the syrup. Peterson, you want to add anything to that? What with your colleagues? Has there been any resistance or anything with the other guys on the program?
No, the program is going great. The team, everybody on board, showing bare love, respect. Yeah, everybody is one. Yeah,
Wow, that's
good.
amazing. Yeah, and I think, just listening to you all from Peterson to Ninja to Sherween, I think, you know, from what you just said, I guess it's a reflection of the love that they're feeling coming from the program, right? So it's the energy that you are all giving and it's coming back to you. And that is a beautiful thing. And to know that the work that you're doing is so impactful and powerful, but it's also very loving. It's, in a sense, you are pouring into these young people, into their teachers, and eventually into their parents. So it's very much coming back to community and it taking a village, right? But I think what's standing out for me is, especially when you mentioned parts of the programs, there is conflict resolution or management. There is what did you call it? Oh, I'm
Emotional
forgetting.
intelligence.
Yes, that's the one. That's exactly the one I was trying to recall. The emotional intelligence. The program itself feels very holistic and intentionally so. And I think between you all have different strengths that you're bringing. Are there any, of course, Saint Lucia is your home. And St. Lucia is where both Peterson and Ninja had their experiences and came out on the other side, right? What is your vision going beyond the schools in St. Lucia?
Well, right now we're in the planning stages of moving the program forward, the serial program, and taking it to another level with my sponsors. I want to say big up to my sponsors, Cabot, for coming on board in a very special time. And we are planning to create an incubator or halfway house where we asking the government for about a 10 to 20 acres of land. And when the guys come out from prison, rather than they go on the streets or they don't have a job or they don't have a place to stay, then they could stay on the property, they could stay on the land, they could work there, they could live there, and they could get training, because we're gonna have all different kind of programs there. We're going to have business programs. We're going to have actual practical programs, farming, animal husbandry. Showing are going to do a business entrepreneurship. Plus, they're going to have disciplinary, and they're going to have the sustainability part of it. So yeah, we have some plans set up for the future.
Right. Well, I'm
I don't know
hoping
what's
for some
Peterson plans. Hold on,
inter-island
hold on.
collaborations.
Oh yeah, we have that in the making. We have already reached out to some countries, Saint Vincent and Martinique, in terms of me coming and then introducing the program to them, because they used to see the videos that we used to send them and the pictures, and they quite interested or eager for me to come up to their country.
Good. Well, if you guys ever want to, move the program or introduce the programs to Anguilla, one of
I
my
would love
closest
that.
friends is a
I would
chief
love that.
probationary officer. So just say the word and I will
Wow.
introduce you to her. Okay?
Wow. Yes, no problem.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
With Sherween and Jonathan working so intimately over the past few months, and working in schools, working with people who were formerly incarcerated, and creating that support network for so many strands of society, right? So all of this is social work, right? And so they this was just an extension. So looking at Jonathan's work historically in the music industry, in the carnival industry, it was just like a natural progression. So he had seen the work that we had done, Shawina and I had done in Guadeloupe, with all the traditional masquerades. So our listeners would be quite familiar with our journey in Guadeloupe and the traditional masquerade. And Jonathan is a songwriter. He doesn't just perform, but he's a songwriter. And so, he was really inspired by seeing like so much culture going on in Guadeloupe. And so he has penned a song called Tewe Vaval, right? And the lyrics of the song are very, very powerful because it's talking about Carnival, our loss of culture, how it's been sold off to commercialism, and it's a reflection of not just our frustrations, but the frustrations of, like, I think everyone who's involved in Carnival, not just in Saint Lucia, but just everywhere. So it's now been this cross inter Caribbean creative collaboration. So Vukum, which is, our go-to band in Guadeloupe, that's our family, right? And so we've done this inter-Caribbean collaboration with Ninja Dan as the artist, being inspired by Guadeloupe, and Vukum is adding their own music. So their drum, the conch shell.
What? This is
Yes.
amazing.
So
This
it's going to
is
be
It
part
is
of
something big.
Soca Monarch.
tune.
It's going to be a whole campaign
Hmm.
about Tewe Vava. So I guess I'll hand it over to Jonathan to, speak about his inspiration behind the song, and what he hopes for it to achieve for this
Hmm.
year.
Yeah, man, it was a vibe. Yeah, it was a vibe. When I used to see the videos showing was standing for me about, Fiona and the crew, how they getting on, and the masquerade and the culture and the whole sustenance of the vibe was just intriguing to me, that it just created a buzz inside of me that, hey, I have to sing about that. Yeah, and just imagining like Tewe Vaval is a taboo amongst our Lucian, our commoners, or our fellow Lucians. They don't really think about that. They don't think in that type of a box. So bringing it to them is like taboo, but at the same time, it's like history. You understand? And yeah, man, we're gonna create something extravagant, for Carnival this year, because Ninja Don has been away from the carnival scene for many, 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 many years. I mean, another person tried to imitate Ninja Don as Karma. I came 3 years ago, but I had to come and do a mission, and I accomplished that mission. And now this year, I'm coming back as the original Ninja Don. When I say Ninja Don, I mean the trendsetter of music, the trendsetter of performance and experience. And my middle name is Mr. Nostalgia.
Fiona, hear that? Shani,
I
Mr.
I I
Nostalgia.
heard. I heard.
He coming back with all the moves when he was in his early
Yeah, man,
20s.
outside man.
Outside man. Remember
Relativate.
Outside Man, Shani?
I
We
do. I very
Who
much do.
could forget it? Who could forget it?
Oh, I do. Oh, memories.
Outside Man, yes, yes. Well, Mr. Outside Man coming back. All right. So
Wow.
watch out. We already released
Two
two
songs
two
there.
singles.
Mm,
One's
mm.
called
Juicy Mango.
Juicy Mango,
I
which
yes, you know what? You guys should
yes.
send that to Mango Fest. You should
Oh
send it.
yes, we
Yes,
will.
you should reach
Yes, we
out.
will.
And maybe
Oh
you can
honey,
have
don't you worry. I come in for you.
yeah,
Miss soon
maybe you,
come.
you guys can come over and perform it for Mango
Yes,
Fest.
we will.
I think that's
Yes,
a
we
great
will.
idea if I
With
say
our
so
film
myself.
crew. Yes, we
That's
will.
right. That's right.
Yes.
I'll share the details after the show.
Please do. Please do. So we have Juicy Mango.
Juicy
And
Mango.
then
What was the inspiration for that ninja?
Sherween Gonzalez.
What?
Showing. Everything is
Sherween
showing.
inspired that song?
Head over heels, showing. Because she come and eat mango in front of me, and she eating the mango provocatively and seductively, and I saying showing, oh my God, showing you, I'll write a song.
You
And that's
wrote
how the
a
song
whole
came out.
song about Sherween.
Wow.
Showing eating the mango in the way she eating the mango. Don't watch me like you playing, you smiling on the side.
Wow.
I put your
Wow.
business
Yes,
out there.
Ninja.
Showing,
Yes. Share the
showing that
story.
send
Share
videos and
the
eating with
story.
mangoes.
Sorry. Sorry, I acted my foot.
Wow. I love
Sorry,
this.
excuse me.
I love this. Now we're getting full
wow.
stories.
You're hearing the full
Uh-huh.
story.
Well, now you'll know. This mouth open, story jump out.
Yes.
Yes.
I tell you.
Yeah, well, mango season is officially open, and I would like to thank everybody who took part, or everybody who participated in the manifestation of this song and making this song become as great as it is. Yeah, I want to big up everybody. And also, the song is out.
You could find Juicy Mango on all streaming platforms.
Yeah.
All of them. So go under the
Under the
mango
mango
tree and
tree.
listen to Juicy Mango by Ninja Dan, inspired by Sherween. Oh, and we have a mango challenge coming out too. Look out for that on Instagram.
My juicy, juicy mango. My juicy, juicy. My juicy. Not now I watching you. I watching my juicy, juicy mango. My juicy, juicy. My juicy. Not now I watching you. I watching you. And when I'm feeling under the pressure, feeling for something sweet, is the sugar in the mango. And the juicy go down my throat. I coughing up like I choke. Is the sugar in there? My juicy, juicy mango. My juicy, juicy. My juicy. Not now I watching you. I watching my juicy, juicy mango.
We appreciate you. You are bringing so much joy to my life.
And
now.
listen to me. This anyway, I know it's okay. But you know something? I am very happy that I was the inspiration behind that song. You know why? It's a fantastic bomboclat song.
It is a
All right.
fantastic.
When you listen to that song, nice. That song sounding sweet. So if I'm the inspiration behind it, then my friend, hey, you take what you get there, all the sweetness. Anyway,
Wow.
and I think on that note, that's a beautiful segue. Yes, all the sweetness.
We're speaking about mangoes, and we all know how much joy mangoes bring to our lives. I do not understand Caribbean people that don't like mangoes, but we'll leave that for another show, okay? So we're moving on to what's bringing you joy. And actually, I'm going to start with, I'm not even sure we explained to our guests that for every episode, we like to speak about the thing in the last few days or weeks that has brought us joy. Because we believe no matter what life is throwing at us, no matter how much life is lifing, there is always that little glimmer, something that has brought us joy. So you know what, Ninja? Since you brought us so much joy with the backstory of the Mango song, I am going to ask you, what has brought you joy lately?
What has brought me joy lately? Wow, that is a tricky question.
It doesn't do, you know.
What has brought me joy lately? My accomplishments.
Hmm.
In the sense of me accomplishing all the schools on the island. That's a great achievement for me. That has brought me joy. And the fact that I could always remain grounded in spite of it all, in spite of the big grants, everything happening around me, I could just remain peaceful and humble and grounded. To me, that is what have me feeling,
Joyful.
joyful. Yeah, always at peace in spite of the situation, in spite of the conflicts, in spite of the negative and the bad mind. I just choose peace.
Yes.
Because when you choose peace, there is no beyonders or there is no crossing the mountain. You just remain calm and just remain grounded. And I rather that.
All right. Thank you.
It keeps you in check and it gives you good health as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Peterson, what has brought you joy lately?
Well, what has brought me joy lately was being released from prison, overcoming the obstacles in my life, having some real people in my corner. Yeah,
Yes.
And finally, yesterday I bought some of me, half of my tools to start my business. So, like, I would have me.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I would have me joyful
Amazing.
these days.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That
and
is
this
definitely
special
reason
thank
to
you
be
my
joyful.
wraparound officer, Miss Jackie, Yeah, man. For making it happen for me, Never give up on me too, And to all y'all also, grateful for y'all and truly appreciate y'all, Yeah, man. Respect.
Wonderful. Fiona, what has brought you joy lately?
Well, a few things. I will still put my gifts from my unnamed friend this morning as very high on the list.
Right.
It's okay,
But
baby.
even though
They all know you
it,
love me.
wow, wow, baby, wow.
Mm.
Um, and then I think, I guess it's now the it feels like we're on the last, say, 200 meters of a marathon
Mm.
for up into Carnival. So now,
Okay.
like, jazz has passed, whatever, and now it's everything is focused on that. And the things that Sherween and I have planned, to create a disruption, the All Mass, we're going to be doing All Mass again this year, and just kind of, the contributions to the culture. I think that has
Mm.
been, and all the plans, and that comes with its stresses and frustrations, and you're waiting for people to tell you yes for things, and just that big excitement of it's coming to fruition
Mm.
is what's really making me happy right now.
Lovely. What are the dates for Carnival again, Fiona?
The 21st and 22nd of July.
Oh, of July.
Yes.
Huh. Okay. Good to know.
Making
Noted.
plans.
I mean, anything is
Mm,
possible.
all right.
Yes. I have a room for you now.
Sherween, Dudu, what has brought you joy lately?
My girl, I'll be honest, what brought me joy the past probably week and a half was seeing, okay, when you go on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or one of them, and you posting something and you tag in a song, or you choosing your music,
Mm-hmm.
you choose your music and the song comes up and you tag it to your post.
Mm-hmm.
So I watching the two songs that we've worked on. I've worked on with Damon, and we log it, we do all the things. And then I go on Instagram and I could tag the damn song.
Oh.
And you know what? That really, really, really made my heart flutter. I'm like, wow, that's so showing y'all did that.
Mm.
And look the thing on Instagram. Look, it's out there in the big wide world. Everybody could go on it. Everybody could listen to it. I felt really accomplished and just a notch under my belt. That's what bring me a lot. You think I will stay in a managing soca artist? I guess no, I don't know. I don't know if that's my calling. I don't know. But you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I am riding that wave. I'm enjoying it. And it's bringing me a lot of joy. Just seeing the hard work now out there and there for everybody, and the feedback we're getting, it's bringing me a lot of joy. So that's where my
Oh.
head is right now until the end of Vaval. So yeah, I'm just riding that wave and enjoying it. Enjoying it big time. Shani, what about you, darling?
Oh, well, I mean, the fact that I am celebrating my 52nd solar return is I'm
Girl,
alive, I am well,
girl.
I have opportunities to thrive, and I'm very, very grateful to be here. So there's so many things that are bringing me joy. I'm going to focus on one in particular, which is that we officially announced that Island Girls Rock is the lead media partner for the
Cool.
Cross Continental Forum taking place in Barbados next
And that is
month.
a big thing, Shani. How you
Big,
just
big,
dropping that like that? That's a big thing. That's a what the hell? Chantal, come on now. You can't just drop that.
Oh gosh.
Hey, Brianna, make sure you put some big trumpets, some conch, some everything there.
But what's bringing me even more joy on top of that is that Brianna is part of our team. So Brianna will be traveling to Barbados with us as our lead content creator as we cover the
Wow.
behind the scenes, the interviews, like all the things. So the Cross Continental Forum is essentially 3 days of filmmakers, storytellers, producers, directors from the global south. So essentially black and brown people.
Mm-hmm.
Conversion in Barbados. under the theme of decolonizing co-production, right? So there are producers and script writers that have been a part of a program for the last few months. So they'll be bringing their scripts to Barbados to pitch and to be part of incubators to some of the film industry's trailblazers. So we have Lorraine Toussaint, the most amazing actress,
Yep.
whose origin is Trinidad and Tobago. We have CCH Pounder, acclaimed actress, Guyanese American. We have Marlon James, Jamaican author. And of course, the filmmaker, director,
Go.
industry trailblazer of my dreams. And anyone
Guess what
who,
people don't
listen,
know?
people don't know, Fiona.
They don't know.
People
They
don't
don't know.
know
They
how
don't
I
know.
have put it into the universe that one day I will not just meet this person, but work with them. Fiona knows, Sherween knows, Michelle
That's
fucking
like how
knows.
the hell you
There
pull
are
that
people
off?
that know, like since she brought out her first film, I Will Follow, right?
Let me tell you something. You are the person who introduced me to her. You not just come because she's doing big things now.
No,
It's not now. Not now.
it's not now. Fiona, you know it's not now. I have admired this person's work, her storytelling speaks to my soul. There is nothing that she can do that would ever disappoint me. And that I know you shouldn't put people up on a pedestal like that, but it's just that her vision, her voice, everything about the way she tells our stories speaks to my soul. Ava DuVernay.
Yep.
Shani, I don't know how you did that. Seriously.
The Ava DuVernay,
Seriously,
working
the
with
Ava
Oprah,
DuVernay.
Ava
Yep.
DuVernay, directing Jay-Z and Beyonce videos, Ava DuVernay.
Yep.
The Ava
Yep.
DuVernay, the most celebrated black female director in the world, Ava
In the
DuVernay.
world.
And one of the most beautiful women ever. Like, what the hell?
Started her
She,
career at age 37, Ava DuVernay.
yes,
Mhm.
she moved from film public relations to actually making films,
Yeah.
right? In her mid 30s. And she did a documentary even before I Will Follow. There's a wonderful black actress and Omari Hardwick. They were the stars of that film. But she did a hip hop documentary, which I did a review of for a magazine called Catch a Vibe in London. I actually did a review of that documentary.
Really?
God knows
Wow.
where it is. We're going way, 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 way back, right? And I have always wanted to work with her, like in any way, in any capacity, right? And so when I heard about the Cross Continental Forum, I was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing, right? But it was, the whole program leading up to this is, did you have a script, that you want to further develop, that you can pitch? And I haven't made a film like since 2011. So I didn't have anything recent. So I'm like, okay, well. And then one of the team members for Island Girls Rock based in London, Anika, sent me a post that said they were receiving proposals for media partners, right?
Mm.
And I actually was like, oh, that. And I remember replying to Anika, I wish, right? Because in my mind, Island Girls Rock isn't a media house, da 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 da. So I essentially was like, 2 days later, I was like, hold the fuck on. Literally, I had that conversation. I was like, hold the fuck on. My background is in media.
Exactly.
Like, I had a whole company platform called Shanti Media. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, Island Girls Rock, we have been screening Caribbean films for more than 20 years. So even before we were Island Girls Rock, we were doing that. Films from the French-speaking Caribbean, Dutch, Spanish, English. We have been representing for Caribbean films for decades. Why shouldn't we be the media partner for the Cross-Continental Forum?
Exactly.
So I emailed them. I said, look, this is who we are. We are not an official media house, but this is what we can do. They were like, bet, put together a proposal. I put it together. I had to present it to the team, which is led by the most amazing filmmaker, Frances Ann Solomon, based in Canada. And we have actually screened her film Hero, and I forgot to tell her that. Hello. And her the head of PR for Caribbean Tales, Giselle, all of these team members. Brianna was on the call, and we pitched.
Nice.
And then 2 days later, on a Sunday, when I don't normally check my emails, for whatever reason, I went into my emails, and there was this congratulations. And I was like, what? Opened up the email, and we did it. And we are going to Barbados.
Shani.
Congratulations, Shani.
Thank you so much.
Listen, this is not you picking up and applying, sending your proposal. This is years of you manifesting that shit. So you know what? Well done.
Yeah. All the years of the hard work.
And have fun. And I'm so happy Brianna is there with you. I mean, if I could take a trip. Hey, by the way, I have to bonfire on you all. How come Relatable not come in? We can come and run a podcast episode. Brianna, what are you doing? Brianna, what are you doing?
Please leave Brianna alone.
Allow Brianna, please.
Please leave Brianna. Thank you very much.
But anyway.
So yes, there we have it. What's bringing us all joy. Fiona, I'm going to pass on to you because I know you have a few things to say before we go.
A special thank you to Peterson and Jonathan for opening up your lives, sharing your stories with all of us. It's been super inspirational. And you know what's amazing is looking at how y'all are giving back to society way more than 99.999% of the rest of us. And I think that's amazing that you have continued to take the time to do that. And we want to say we really appreciate the work that y'all are putting back, giving back to society, and just for adding like the inspiration and sharing your vulnerability. This is something that we encourage on the Mandem series. We're talking real talk, So for the next couple of months, y'all have a look out for the disruption as we are going to be causing for the Vaval. For the Carnival, you're going to see some cultural disruption going on. We're injecting back some culture. So we just want to say congratulations to all of y'all. Congratulations, Chantal, on that amazing news. Peterson, amazing news.
Thank you.
Jonathan, for all the hard work that you're doing for the community.
Merci,
congratulations for Sherween for being annoying.
I take pride and pleasure in it.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Every day you top yourself. Every day you outdo yourself.
Wow.
Yes. And and just remember always, folks, that a shared journey
brings hope. It's not me that doing the singing. Maybe we should make Jonathan say it. Brings hope.
Sing, brings hope.
Brings hope.
Hey.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
No problem. We waiting.
Bye.
Bye.
Relatable, because a shared journey brings hope.